Yo, I'm making a video today about sacrifices and the importance of sacrifices in achieving your biggest goals. So I think we all know that making sacrifices is mandatory for us to experience success, right? Because ultimately, what we have to always fight against is the need for immediate gratification, right? This happens especially in relationships. It happens in business, and it happens with our health in a negative way. Us combating the impulse for immediate gratification is probably one of the strongest skills that any person striving for success could ever learn. Because if you can learn to become aware of the desire for instant gratification, right, what happens is you can then stop yourself if you are aware that you are seeking instant gratification. There's two examples in my life where I've experienced this in business. One example, which is something I'm going through right now, is I have a huge opportunity as an entrepreneur with my dad's company, which we are potentially in the process of potentially partnering down the road, and I would be playing more of the sales marketing role for his company, which is pretty exciting. So, you know, I buy into this concept of doing this. I propose it to him. It sounds all fun, right? But the first steps that need to be taken is he has no online presence, and I have to build an entire website and digital marketing strategy for his company, which is great. I love digital marketing, but what I love more is face-to-face interaction and sales, right? So what's the sacrifice here, right? The impulsive me would want to just start going out right now with his existing leads, right? His existing business leads, his existing prospects, and just start selling, right? But a sacrifice I made for that, which is something that is a long-term investment that will then return in the long run for my selling efforts, is the creation of his website and digital marketing plan, so that we can gain not only more leads, but more qualified leads, and we can build credibility through our website, and we can make the selling process approximately, I'd argue, 50% easier based on our competitors, because no one in his market really has an online presence. So the sacrifice I made was to put my head down and, you know, really just kind of keep to myself and create this website, which is something that over a long period of time gets a little stressful for someone who is as outgoing as me. Ultimately, the sacrifice I made is now paying off as of tomorrow. The website's going to be launched, and then I'm not only going to be able to do sales and marketing if we do end up working out this deal, but I will be able to do it with a lot more people. I'll have higher commission percentages. I'll have more credibility and trust built with the website itself, and the effectiveness of my face-to-face interactions will skyrocket. So what's another example that I had in this in business, right? Well, I think any entrepreneur who goes and creates their own product has to go through this sacrifice period, right? They have to go through the sacrifice period where they have to actually create the product. But the majority of marketing, salesy entrepreneurs, which a lot of entrepreneurs have that drive, because you have to have that internal push to, you know, motivate, sell, etc. In my opinion, you have to make a sacrifice to create your product or service, or more so your product, right? To make it a great product. But what do people do, right? Your friends and family push you towards immediate gratification. They say, okay, you quit your job, you're starting this business, where's the product? Where's the service? Where's the And, you know, I think one thing I learned from John Paul DeJoria, his name, I'm sorry, not his name, he's the founder of Paul Mitchell Hair Products, was, you know, if you have a great product, then you increase the likeliness that you get placed into the resale business rather than the single sale and then dump them business, which I think is really important, right? So if you have a good product, then the product's going to sell itself, and it's going to make your selling efforts a lot easier. So another example of how and why we need to resist immediate gratification is in relationships, right? And this is one of the biggest, this is probably where our biggest animal drives come out. A lot of us can equate business decision making to logic, whereas relationship decision making is not as black and white, quantified, or measurable. So what does this do? It makes it so that you know, when we meet someone, I've went through this numerous times, when we meet someone that we immediately feel an attraction to, especially for guys, you know, maybe we have sex with them, maybe we, you know, physically connect with them over the course of a couple of weeks. And, you know, what happens is your animal drives start taking over, right? And your animal drives tell you more, amplify. And it turns out that for most guys, they become needy, dependent, and kind of intrusive on the girl's life or the partner's life. Now, this does happen to girls too, because I've had this happen to me with girls, right? And, you know, I think one of the toughest things to fight against is impulsivity in relationships, because it's one of our strongest animal drives to amplify the emotional state that we feel when we're with a romantic partner, right? So how do you combat this, right? Well, first, it always comes to awareness, right? You have to be aware of how balanced your life is when you're adding any new thing into it. So, for example, if you're starting a business and you quit your job and you have no other income source, you're not going to be in a balanced mindset to where you can create a great product most times. So what this does is it makes you rush your efforts, your life is unbalanced, you become scarce, and you end up not producing great results. Same thing happens with relationships, right? If you don't have an abundant, fulfilling life filled with goals and you know, other fulfilling relationships, whether they be with other females or members of the opposite sex, whether they be with your friends, your family, which is all very, very important, mentors, etc. And you don't also have, on top of that, you know, positive habits outside of the relationship, like working out, you know, dieting effectively to meet your goals. What else? Just an abundant life. You're not traveling at all, which I think is essential. You're not seeing new places. You're not meeting new people. You're not experiencing new things. You're kind of in a routine. And this relationship becomes the center of your universe, right? Because, you know, the routine is never as exciting as a flood of romantic emotions, right? And, you know, I think what all of this comes down to is always reminding yourself of the importance of abundance in all areas of your life. Never get too obsessed over one thing. I know it's tough for you entrepreneurs out there, but it's true for all of us in relationships, right? As you can tell, I'm kind of I'm segmenting this discussion on instant gratification by business, avoiding it in business, and avoiding it in important relationships, not indulging. So what I was saying was essentially how do we combat this? And I think the best way is through abundance, right? I think abundance is honestly the cure for the majority of things. So abundance is you know, the 4 pillars of life, something I learned from a lot of people. This is a pretty shared concept. The 4 pillars is health, wealth, relationships, and fulfillment. These 4 pillars are the components of an abundant life, right? So if you feel that you are fighting really hard, or you have strong immediate gratification impulses, and you're trying to do things too fast. Now, patience is very important. Now, speed of implementation is always more important than patience, because if you're not taking consistent positive action in every area of your life, it doesn't matter how well you understand abundance, right? It's all about action, and any form of action is better than no action, right? But we have to focus these actions in a relatively balanced way. Now, I'm not saying that you got to be this, you got to, buy into the whole psychology model and, perfectly balance your life and segment time to relax. And no, I think life is a lot more fluid than that. I think we all should go through periods in our life where we have to work 16 hours a day. And I think that we all should go through periods in our life where we don't have to do a goddamn thing for an entire day, right? I think it should be fluid, and I don't think that there should be much structure to your everyday life. So in discussing this and in bringing out all these points, I think we can all implement just the point of advice that abundance is going to be the cure to your impulses. If ever you think that you are being, too impulsive, in terms of, in an unhealthy way. Sorry, I'm parking right now. If ever you think you're being too impulsive in an unhealthy way, then it's important to analyze whether you are in any way, shape, or form abundant in your life. Are you abundant with opportunity, with your goals, with your relationships? And are you taking consistent actions towards all of these things? And I think what we will all notice, right, this is something I learn more and more about every day, is when we are abundant, when we are taking consistent actions towards our health, conscious, consistent actions towards our health, when we are taking conscious, consistent, positive, bold actions, maybe even gentle actions, just consistent ones, towards developing and building our network of relationships, building our levels of attraction for romantic relationships, becoming more confident, improving our body language. These are actions, right, that can improve your value in relationships, no matter what that relationship is. And finally, wealth, right? Are we taking consistent actions that will set us up for future success when it comes to building wealth into the future, right? And we all know that, being in the investor's mentality is the best way to take action on your wealth pillar, right? And then fulfillment, right? Health, wealth, relationships. Fulfillment, right, is, are you, right? At the end of the day, you should be speaking your thoughts more than you hold them back, right? You should be taking action on the positive thoughts that you have. You should be ignoring the negative, disempowering thoughts that you have. These are actions, right? Fulfillment is about alignment with your thoughts, words, and actions. And a lot of us don't have alignment with our thoughts, words, and actions. So this is an action that we can take, right? And if we are off balance in any of these 4 areas, then it's more likely that we're going to look to a little subset of one of these 4 areas for a cure, because we're not balanced. Don't look for cures. Be the cure. Be the balanced cure already, so that anything that enters your life is just an added value. I think we can all implement more in terms of cultivating abundance.